We have 4 simple rules. Number 1, we don't discuss politics, ever. Number 2, this is not a religious channel, and while you might hear people say, God bless you, or I'm going to pray for you, or I wouldn't have gotten through this without my faith, that's fine. What's not fine is to say, my God is better than your God, or here's why you're not getting into heaven. It's not going to fly. Number 3, we believe wholeheartedly if you can't control your tongue, then you can't control your life. So while on board, there's not going to be any cursing in the live chat, period. And number 4, there is no room for mean people on the lifeboat. Because we discuss very sensitive things from people's past in our group setting, we got to protect those people. The only way they feel confident and comfortable discussing those things is in an environment that is free of trolls and mean people. So if you're a mean person or you're a troll, we're going to block you for life. And if your account happens to be less than 24 hours old, we're probably a little suspicious right from the word go. Why? Well, because there are people in this world who enjoy being cruel solely for the sake of being cruel. It's not going to fly here. But if you're here because you're trying to get sober and live your best life, then you might find that the lifeboat is just that, a lifeboat. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and we will see you on deck.
Good evening, everybody. I am Captain Tommy Scoville. And on the other side of the glass, as always, is my partner, Captain Mark Wages. And you are on the lifeboat. So, couple of things before we get rolling. El Chapo's kid got busted. Not sure if you heard that, but the son of El Chapo just got hemmed up in Culiacan and is now officially under arrest. There's looking like there's an excellent chance he will be extradited to the United States, where with any luck he can he can link back up with his dad at Florence, Colorado ADX. There was a pretty wild article written about him today after the drug bust that said they believe somewhere between 40 and 60% of all of the fent coming across in one way or another he had a hand in. Now, I would love to believe that with him gone, it will somehow dry up a little bit. The truth be told, that's as you know as well as I do, that that's not the case. There will be somebody to slide into into his shoes instantly. Yes, it was a slight shoot 'em up. It's Stacey, you could probably even go a little bit more than a slight. A lot of people actually got lit up in that. But it's one of the few times that I feel if a few of them got taken out in the exchange, it probably is not such a bad thing. Chris S. Hi guys, 4 days now. I'm more committed than ever. We'll call someone first this time for sure. Chris, that's awesome. Really, really cool to hear. That's the gospel truth. That's from the bottom of my heart. I love that. That's the best possible case scenario right there. Pagan, good to hear that you had a wonderful visit with Ladybug. This is something that is happening more often and more often, right? We're seeing people from the boat linking up with one another. And it honestly, I think it's absolutely beautiful. It really, I don't know, it justifies or quantifies or something fies, right? The boat and what we're doing here. I also spoke with the other Brandon. Hello, Brandon Calloway. The other Brandon is okay. He's been working a tough schedule and says he should be back fairly soon. He is not he's not in bad shape or anything like that. So that's a good thing. Jesse Brown, no problem, brother. We're just happy to have you here. That's a true story. So if you saw the the subject matter of tonight, This is one of those subjects that if you do this one wrong, you really sound like a jackwagon. But it probably needs to get said. If you have been on the boat for any length of time, then you probably remember last season. Hey, Cemetery, good to see you. Last season, we had there was a video or two done where we wanted to make sure that we never slid into that YouTube thing, right? That phenomenon on YouTube where sometimes the personality can overshadow the subject matter, and that would be a friggin' sin, right? With what we do, it really would. And so we used to say, and Charlie Murphy, Charlie Mullins, always says, you've probably seen it in the comment section. He puts a YAL, right? You are lucky, because back in the day, we had everybody tell us that. You know what? We know we're lucky. The fact that there's 3,500 some odd people who are coming here to listen every day and are fighting to try to get sober, that really truthfully is absolutely lucky. And it's not something that we would like to lose perspective on or lose sight of. Hey, Ireland, glad you're checking in. I love Full of Hope. I really do. One of my favorite people. Glad that you're here. And yeah, so neither of us want to see our personalities start to overshadow the subject matter here. And if we're going to be really honest, we can start with me. I'm just another drug addict on this boat. Truly, that is exactly what I am. I am just another drug addict on this boat, trying to stay sober the same way as everybody else. Now, we had a really cool idea to get this thing up and off the ground, and it's honestly been a real blessing for a lot of people, and I think for us, probably more than anything. This has very much been the backbone of our sobriety. But I'm not winning people by any stretch of the imagination. And if you think I am, it's sad that you see me for an hour a night, right? And most assuredly, I don't come on here and show you my worst. When I come on here, I'm trying to put forward, obviously my best foot, because we're discussing subject matters, and I'm giving out advice that I didn't come up with. People far smarter than me came up with this advice. Fortunately,
my internet cut off. Sorry, it did.
It happens.
Yep, I think we're back now though.
Okay.
So I lost your Zoom and everything. That was on my end. So
okay. So I'm not exactly sure where I lost you, people, but I'm not the rageaholic that's going to hit somebody. I'm not the rageaholic that's going to pull someone over on the freeway and yank them out of their car. Right? That's not. I internalize this rage. I am one of those people that will most assuredly be cursing under his breath. And if you consider what I do for a living, there is a lot of potential for me to be raging. I deal with really, really small parts, and it takes just an awful lot of time to do anything with a watch, even under the best of circumstances. And I'm not very good at remaining calm. It's my biggest flaw, and you guys don't see it. And I get emails from people who really think I'm far better a person than I am. And you know something? I'm not doing the world any justice if I allow that crap to happen. Because number one, it sort of sets people up to think, well, look how great Tommy did, right? Like he just got his life completely in order, and I'm struggling over here. And it's people, I'm not hitting this out of the park, not by any stretch of the imagination. There are people I have run off of this boat, whether you realize that or not. There are people I have run off of this boat because of my proclivity to pull the trigger quickly. If you rub me the wrong way, there's an excellent chance I'm going to send an email, and very often I'm going to hit return probably before I should. And even in circumstances where I believe I was right, I still didn't handle it properly. And Ideally, we wouldn't be running people off the boat. I have run people off the boat. I have run off a business partner. I've run off somebody that I worked with because they basically just got to a point where they don't want to watch the internal combustion that is me. So, you start feeling like a wicked hypocrite, especially if you get, I am not exaggerating. If I get 100 emails in a week that just want to tell me how great I'm doing, you start to feel like a real hypocrite, and it's not doing, as I said, it's not, I don't want to have anybody out there thinking that, anybody's perfect. Let me tell you that before we go live every night, we have a conversation that you guys are never privy to. And if you heard it, I'm not sure you'd follow us. Right? Because
you're right.
we certainly wouldn't sound like two people who particularly have it together. Right? We really wouldn't. And you all are probably blessed that you have not that you haven't seen me in that mode. Lady Crispin has, God bless her, has absolutely seen me in that mode. And there's probably one or two others that have had to see me in the when I'm not at my best. But make no mistake, people, I'm another addict on this boat, and so is my partner. Right before we were going live today, we were talking to one another about where we're struggling.
Yep.
I mean, that's the reality. So there are times where people think that that number one, we got it all under control, and number two, chances are we have all the answers. There is a good chance we have a decent number of answers that came directly out of a great book, right? Or from a really good teacher. But I don't want anybody thinking that for a hot second that we're giving you these because we've mastered them, right? I can't speak for my bobbleheaded partner, because that our struggles are different. We both have them. I promise you that. We both have them. But we struggle in different places. I absolutely am failing miserably at controlling my emotions the way I want to. And the worst part of it is there was a time when I had it under control. True story. There was a time when I really, really had it under control. And maybe it had something to do with where I was living, right? You start getting really, PO'd in a federal penitentiary, and there's a decent chance someone's going to stab you. So you tend to try to keep your emotions in check. When you get out into the free world, it gives you sort of carte blanche to, to treat people probably not as well as they ought to be treated. So if I have stepped on anybody on the boat, I apologize. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Yesterday when I came on here, we got a lot of really positive feedback from yesterday, and we had a lot of people who have weighed in on one thing or another. Are you on Facebook? Feel free to message any of us when you get bad news. Tommy's question: are you journaling? Are you making your bed? God bless you. God bless you. I am absolutely.
And that should be the question, shouldn't it?
It absolutely should be the question.
Yeah, and guys, Tommy spoke about we struggle with different things, and he told you what he was struggling with a little bit. And for me, I struggle with a lot of guilt, and I don't know, it's like I need validation sometimes from not you guys, but just from Tommy or from anybody else that I'm doing okay for you guys. And I know he sees it in my texts a lot and stuff, and I know he knows that's just my personality. But that's something I got to work on. I need to get myself over that. And, not that we don't want validated from our peers or from the people that we love. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I need a little, I don't know, maybe I'm a puss. I don't know, but it's just what I'm working on. And that actually goes back before even my drug addiction. So that's something, just trying to live my best life. I've always struggled with that. So but that's just one of my struggles. I just wanted to share that too.
No, and I think that's probably a pretty good idea that that we come out and do that. I will tell you by way of full disclosure that my journaling has become digital, which I think may be the coolest thing of all time. And I don't know whether or not everybody has a shot at this, because the technology is something that you either have or don't have. But this little thing right here is the coolest concept in history, right? This thing, it's got a little clicker here on the back, and it gives you the opportunity basically to just write on a tablet or a screen, and then you hit, a button and it saves it forever. I've spent a decent amount of time going back and looking at things that I've been writing, especially over the course of the last 2 or 3 days. Over the course of the last 2 or 3 days, this has really come to a head in my life. This has I have damaged people that I care about, and it's certainly not something that I did intentionally. It's just one of those situations that when you internalize rage, you don't realize how much it's hurting other people, right? Like in my head, with all due respect, I'm doing the screw you. It's not like I'm yelling at you, right? If I'm getting really angry, but I'm angry at me, what the hell business is that of yours? But if you happen to be within shouting distance and have to watch me go through that, I realize that this is a very, very difficult thing to watch. And honestly, people, I'm going to do everything within my power to do better. I'm going to do everything within my power to try to get this under control. I may, no joke, I may need to seek out another form of group therapy. Amazingly enough, I never thought this is something that I would say out loud, but I very well may need anger management. And it's going to be very odd because most people in anger management steer that directly at somebody, right? At least that's my understanding. I've never been in one, but I really am very seriously thinking about that because I'm unhappy with where I am.
Didn't you give that same advice to somebody a little while, like a week ago?
I did.
To like the shopaholic, getting more specified. So I think that's just another example how we are on this with you guys, and I think that's what Tommy's kind of trying to say here. But anyway, I didn't mean to butt in. I just thought
no, and you make a really good point. I don't know who gave us pounds. That is British pound up there, is it not?
That's Christopher.
But thank you so much. That's Chris?
Christopher Cooper.
Christopher, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Put it back up there for you.
I really, really do. So when we came on yesterday, I got more pushback, and in a very friendly way. Nobody was a jerk about it or anything, but I got a lot of pushback yesterday, and I think it may be semantics, but there are two camps. There are the camp that believes that you absolutely have to put sobriety in front of absolutely everything, right? Or you're screwed. And then there are the people who believe that, your family is really important and your relationship with God is really important, and, your significant other. And they have a lot of things that in their mind are equally as important. I think that we're almost getting to semantics because for some of us, we're one shot away from going overboard, right? I'm one pill away from hopping off of this boat and sinking. Because we sit in front of the microphone or we get a cool seat, sometimes I think we can lose sight of that. But all of us, make no mistake, every single person on this boat is one screw up away from really doing themselves some damage. Now, I can't speak to everybody's form of relapse. I can write a dissertation on how I relapse. And when I relapse, I go with both feet, right? And I'm off to the races, So for me, it is really important that that this has to be in front of everything. And I know that there are people who say, but as a religious person, don't you think God is the most important thing? Absolutely, I do. I think God is the most important thing. And the way I honor him, right, is by putting sobriety first. Because if I didn't, he and I aren't going to have a relationship. And neither are myself and any of you either.
Yep.
Given for all your hard work and time and effort to support the addicts, ex-addict community and family, because that's what we are. Thank you, Christopher. And you know what? I think one of the big takeaways that, before the show started tonight, Mark and I were talking, and the amount of really incredible stuff that happens in the comments section, right? The amount of unbelievable stuff that happens in the comment section of the lifeboat. When I say that we're just a couple of addicts on the boat, we really are. We keep the topic going, right? And we keep we try to keep everybody showing up. But the number of people who have sent me emails that said, boy, you know what, so and so said this and it just clicked, or this person said something and it just clicked, or this person reached out to me. So here's the thing. I know that sometimes I come across a little bit abrasive. There are certain things that I promise you, right? We can't beat this enough, truthfully. And if I step on toes in these particular subjects, right? If I bum anybody out with these, it's a good call. It really is. It's a very, very good call. If you don't have a game plan for your sobriety, you're going to fail, right? Now, whether or not you want to call sobriety the most important thing in your life, whether you want to call it, the third most important thing in your life, but, as a tribute to your family, you're never going to use whatever the verbiage, you better have a game plan, right? The last 2 days have been rough, right? They really, they've been rough. And the first thing I did was reach out to the people that I had on my list. And I can assure you, if I didn't get the first and the second, I would have gone to the third and the fourth, or the fifth and the sixth. And yeah, I mean, I was ready to roll. And there were a couple of people who just sort of reached out and said, "You don't look right," And to all of them, even if you called really late at night, God bless you. I really appreciate the help, and I mean that. I'm not being a wise guy. I truthfully mean that. But it's one of those situations, and you're right. You can believe in God and not be religious, absolutely. And that's a conversation I would love to get into with you at some time, because I'm of the firm belief that God's not a big fan of religion. But that's a rabbit hole.
Yeah,
we would have to, you know what I mean? And
that's a whole other channel, isn't it?
Holy crap. I mean, it really does have the potential to just dive really, really deep into a place that
that's a big one.
We really don't necessarily need to go. There are some other things that I think are essential. I'm not joking when I say a routine. It's funny, and the more I say it, the funnier it gets, right? Make your bed. You realize that it's not as important, truthfully, as is getting up and having a routine that you do every single day. Because without a doubt, the chaos is addiction's best friend. If you've got no set schedule of any kind, when you start feeling like, I got a little bit of downtime, that's when you're in deep doo-doo. I promise you. So if you can structure your day, especially in the beginning, you may not have to do this for the rest of your life, but in the beginning, you absolutely need to make sure that you are structured, or you're going to be in trouble. Niall says, for me, there is always present a strong urge to self-destruct and self-sabotage anything good that is in my life. The irony of our disease wants us dead, no matter how much sober time we have. You know what, people? If that sounds like doom and gloom to you, then either you haven't been, sober for a really long time. There really is a lot of truth to the fact that, and this is why we say, you're not your brain. There really is a part of your brain that at every given moment wants you to jump off the rails. So I'm not lying, people. The last 2 days have been tough, right? They've been a struggle, and it's caused me to have to do some things in my life and make a whole bunch of changes. And it was just some really wild stuff that's really going on in my life. And I was not in danger of using. I promise you I wasn't. But I was in danger of thinking about using.
Yeah.
Believe that. I was in big danger of thinking about it. And that process, it seems harmless, right? Well, I'm just thinking about getting high, and that's not getting high. That's no big deal. But we've talked about relapse and how it works. And the first place that you start to relapse is in your dome, right? The first place you just start thinking about, you know what? I wish I could turn this off. I wish I could turn off this feeling for, say, 8 hours, right? Last night I didn't sleep. No joke. And I don't mean I got an hour of sleep. I mean, last night I did not go to sleep. And it was just one of those nights. Well, as you may remember from yesterday's show, I also drank the strongest coffee in North America. That really was rocket fuel. But on top of that, there was just a lot of stuff going on in my head, and I'm not really good at putting my brain to sleep. And for that reason, I started to romanticize, right? And I don't ever truthfully consider the idea. But if I find myself going, you know what? I really wish I could turn this off. I'm picking up the friggin' phone. You understand? Because I understand exactly what's going on in my dome. I might not be great at this, people. I really might not be, and trust me, I'm not a guru. But I've screwed up enough to know that first thought starts entering your head. That first thought of, boy, I would love to be able to just turn this off. Or, boy, it was fun on days like today. That first thought comes into your head. You don't even need to explain it to the person, right? You just call and say, you know what, I need to talk.
Yeah.
The beautiful thing about the boat, the beautiful thing about other addicts, right? The beautiful thing about group therapy is you don't have to explain jack crap to anybody, right? If I call Mark and go, having one, bro.
Yeah.
Really having one. In fact, I think word for word, that's what he said to me when he got here tonight.
Yeah. Yep, I actually said that to Tommy today when we came on. I've been struggling with some things these few weeks at the beginning of the year. Actually, I guess if you look at it even in data, just overall, it's hard for addicts. It's overall mental health, period. It's bad this time of year. You get the seasonal depression and all that kind of a thing. And, and I think recognizing that is probably the first and probably the very most important step to just be like, hey, this is what's going on. And if you can see it, it ain't going to make you feel better, but you at least know that, hey, this is something that happens. This is something that I've been through before. This is something that all of us are experiencing. So we can kind of see the end of it after that. And doesn't mean we're going to get better in 5 minutes. Doesn't mean we're going to get better next week. It just means that we're going to get better. That's what that means.
It's really funny that you say that, Mark. It's first of all, I think you're spot on. And it's, if you read, the first comment that Niall made, Niall's second comment is, as long as we're aware of that, though, we can recognize and change our thinking. That's all I meant. It's just self-awareness. And I think the difference between the people that make it and the people who don't is how fast can you identify that? How fast can you pick up the thread of, oh no, I'm going in the wrong direction. This is not good. Honestly, people, I'm not a guru and I'm not particularly great at any of this. I was really good at at reaching out to some people in the last couple of days. I promise you, that phone was in my hand and fast, because I knew that and honestly, I'm not at all afraid that I was going to use. Not yesterday, but that kind of thinking is the kind of thing that gets me to put a needle in my arm 6 months from now.
Yeah.
Right. Not today. It's not the kind of thing that gets me to screw up now. It's the kind of thing that gets me to screw up 6 months, 8 months, a year, 2 years, right? Knowing full well, as Niall said, knowing full well that there's a part of you that wants badly to self-destruct. There's a part of you that would like to make sure that you get off of the rails, not back on them. And it's rather essential that you and minimizing emotions, refracting period, to bounce back quicker. Absolutely. Absolutely. The longer that we play this game, right, the better we get at it. And what I want more than anything, and I know that Mark feels the same way. I don't ever want to get up and feel like I'm a hypocrite. I don't ever want to get up and read headlines about who I am and think, who the hell are they talking about?
Yeah.
And I don't think that Mark wants that either. I am really struggling, right, to take care of the things that I don't do well, right? I'm really struggling, and I'm not doing a good job, and it's costing me. So, boy, you want to throw you're lucky in there. Trust and believe we know we're lucky.
Oh God, so lucky, man. I mean,
And yeah, and we get luckier every day, because Christopher Allen, by the way, congratulations. Christopher's made really great strides.
we're getting lots of solar weather. Okay, I think we're back.
Well, that doesn't surprise me, man. Like, everything is really, really screwed up, nationwide.
Yeah, we're back. We're back.
Okay, good. Like I said, I'm gonna put Chris on blast, and I really feel like I'm not wildly out of pocket on this, because he's a very, very open person. But he called me to discuss his plans for sobriety, and we probably spent about an hour and 20 minutes on the phone. And it was one of those phone calls that I actually recorded a good chunk of it.
That's cool.
I did. And it's because I know a day is coming where he's going to want to hear it. The strides that he's making already are incredible. And he's going hard to the paint. He's working on a bunch of habits at once. I know that's sometimes that's a scary thing, but he's putting down cigarettes. He's not drinking.
Thank you, Niall.
Wow.
Thank you,
Niall, you know what? That means a lot, and it means a lot coming from you.
Yeah.
And I mean that.
Yeah, me
I
too.
really do. I mean that.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, what number one signifies? It can mean a lot of different things, but usually it's we're praying for somebody, we're thinking about somebody, we're clapping.
Yep.
Right? Congrats, we're clapping. For instance, we're probably going to want to throw up a bunch of ones. I don't know if Heather Joy mentioned it, but they have been waiting on a little bundle of joy, and it has officially arrived.
Sweet.
I know that if there are not already pictures posted onto the Facebook group page, they will be soon.
Is it grandbaby or is it pet? Grandbaby number 5? Wow.
Number 5. If I'm wrong, I'm not wrong by much. It was either 4 or 5. 5.
Wow.
Grandbaby number 5. So how cool is that? Huh?
Oh yeah. That's so cool. It really is, guys. That is so
Roman,
cool.
Roman Hatch. So we can throw some ones up for that. I think that's absolutely beautiful. And you know, the we're never all going to be killing it on the same day, right? We're never going to have a day where every single person shows up here and says today's perfect, right? 3,000 of us are going to show up on the same day and go, what are the odds today's perfect? And I hope that that's what this is all about. I hope that the comment section here is for the day where things suck.
Yeah. Right? Well, yeah, and just to kind of spry off that a little bit, before we start doing live streams, that's why we started live streams, and we talked about this before, but newer people might not have heard it. Our comment section used to get twice to 3 times the amount of comments than we had views. So wrap your brain around that one, guys. So what that means is that the people that were watching were engaged fully. So that was telling us, hey, these people, they really want to talk and they're getting something from this. And so how can we facilitate something a little bit better, more instantaneous? And that's why we went to the live stream format, and we've never looked back. And since then, I mean, obviously, yeah, we got growing pains, but I don't think we've ever considered just going back to a uploaded video channel type of thing.
Even when we should make a video, we go live.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like when it absolutely demands a little 5-minute video to tell people what's going on, I'll just go live because it's so much.
Well, it's so much
easier. It gives. There's no editing, which is beautiful. But it also gives everybody an opportunity to talk. It's absolutely amazing if you take some time and go back 4 or 5 days, go back a week, whatever, and watch a video that's already in the can, and pop up the chat and just reread it.
Yeah,
I started to do this over the last 2 days because I was feeling like a fraud. Right, I really was. I was very much feeling like a fraud, and so I started to go back through and just read some of the stuff and the comment section. Look, there's always going to be a little bit of chatter about a really good recipe for cornbread, but the vast majority, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it keeps everybody sort of light and fun, which is really cool. But there's always somebody ready to help whenever somebody needs it. And that was the dream of this boat. And God forbid, I mean that, God forbid that anybody overshadows that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna make sure that everybody knows that we're damn lucky. And I'm going to spend a little bit more time on my own problems. I'm going to spend a decent amount of time coming here and talking about where I'm massively screwing up, because the number one, I'm really human. In fact, I'm more human than other humans. You know what I mean? Like I screw up way more than the next guy, and I don't want the image or the illusion that I'm one of these.
What I say in the text earlier, I'm fat, but I'm not Buddha, and you're skinny and you're not Gandhi. So I mean,
that's it.
I mean, it's kind of what it ends up kind of, and I didn't quite understand. Like Johnny used to say, "Hey, don't call me a legend, please. It's not really what I want." And I didn't understand why, but I do now, a little bit better.
Yeah, but he is a legend.
Yes, but you know what I'm talking about, though.
I just said that just
I know for him. I get it.
The rerun.
But I think what, for me, and I think Tommy would probably agree with this, what we've gotten really good at is, at a very basic level, pattern recognition. We can recognize a pattern that we're going through. And if we can know that, it doesn't mean that we're not going to go through the pattern. It just means that we know that we're going to get there. And we know that we're going to get, eventually in that pattern, life gets good again. or it gets better, or just we know the steps. That's what I'm trying to say. And the more that we can, and I think a lot of times when we're helping other people, that's really what we're pointing out. Hey guys, you're in this section of your, of your whatever relapse or in your recovery. At least for me, when I'm talking to other people. Now, obviously, we're not going to be blunt and just stone cold hard when we say things like that. At least most of the time. Sometimes there's a time for that, but we do recognize there's patterns, and me and Tommy have seen, just like you guys, a lot of stuff. So we know, and that's what I think that's what really kind of gives us the ability to tell others about it, because we do know what it looks like, and we've seen it, and we can tell others what it looks like. And that's, for me,
and often it's like if you sit if you sit in these seats long enough, at least once a month, maybe once every other month, we will watch somebody driving 85 miles an hour into a brick wall.
Yeah.
We know exactly what's going to happen, right? We know what they're going to say when we suggest, and it's that is another thing that really, is a difficult thing, and it's not that, we're not Nostradamus,
right?
But as he said, you get really good at picking up patterns. So, another really great piece of advice is start to look for patterns in yourself. If for some reason you start to romanticize your previous drug, even if you're thinking to yourself, yeah, you know what, that stuff really kind of sucked, right? But you're thinking that 6 times a day, right? In a perfect world, we're just not doing that. I mean, we really should not be mama uncomically.
Yeah.
We're
not gonna. This is. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not.
Great name, though.
Yeah, it's a
great name.
Cool name. Cool name.
Yeah. Yep. No question. Probably going to get the boot, but really a great, really a great name.
Yep.
So, patterns of behavior. If you see yourself heading in that direction, that's the one thing that I will take credit for. That is the one thing that, I can say, you know what, I did that right. I've done a lot in the last probably month and a half. It really came to a head in the last couple of days. But and I've talked about this before on the boat. But one of the things that happens to some of us is that we can get rid of the drugs, right? We can get rid of that part of your life and really just eliminate it, so that you're not, you're never doing dope again. You're never doing anything, but you could really find yourself doing anything else almost the same way, if that makes any sense, right? Like, I can find myself up at 4:00 in the morning, looking at auctions, or, getting up at 3 a.m. and it's almost like the dope game, right? It's the same kind of a mindset where you're always kind of chasing. And you really have to be careful to not drag things from the past into the present. And I think that I've done a decent amount of that, unfortunately. You ever heard the expression, we admire people for their attributes, but we love them for their flaws? We are all flawed, and thank God for that. Beautifully said,
yes.
Niall. Truthfully,
yes.
Beautifully said. As we said earlier, there's never going to be a day, ever, where everybody here is having a great day. And the concept of the lifeboat is really, out of the park. Like the idea behind this is, and truthfully, I don't even know that we could take credit for that. Like what we thought we were going to do and what this is didn't really resemble it.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It really is. Like we had a concept of what this was going to become, and then the next thing you know, it just sort of spiraled and took on. People use that term often, that it took on a life of its own.
Well, I think we didn't we like.
I kid you not.
We facilitated that on purpose, though. We let everybody drive this, and that's what and I think that's why everybody's been so successful with what that's been happening here. People get a lot of help from, from you guys, from each other, and from us, and all that. And I do think that that's why, because if you don't listen to what people that are watching you and listening, what they're going through, or what have you, or how they get their help, I always prided myself of living, learning from other people's mistakes. Even when I was a kid, and I love my dad, and this isn't a shot at him at all, but he never kept a job for more than like a year. And I always told myself I would never do that to my family. I just didn't want to have that instability. So I learned from that, and I got a job right out of high school, got married the same year, had the job for 20 years. And do you think I wanted to stay there? Probably not the whole time. I had to dig deep sometimes. But the fact of the matter is, I learned from what my dad had done, and, unintentionally, he taught me a big life lesson, and I was just able to see it. And I think that those that are able to help others, I think that's really where it comes from. You're able to see. You're able to step out of yourself, right, and you're able to see, hey, and even step out of yourself and see your own flaw. And when you're doing that, then you're really ahead of the game. But you have to also recognize to listen to everybody around you. And I think that, me and Tommy are really good at that. We listen to you guys, and sometimes we don't always succeed with that because of what we do, I guess. Sometimes what we do kind of gets in the way a little bit. But I think that anytime either one of us have been legitimately, like, I guess I don't want to use the word chastised because I think it's a little too heavy. And maybe it ain't. I don't know. Something that we've done or something that we shouldn't have done or said, we've listened. And at least given it the thought that it needed. Whether we ended up agreeing with it, each situation is different. But, and I think that you guys do the same. And I hope that you guys can learn from that. And I know that I've learned so much from you guys. It's ridiculous what I've learned from you guys.
And that is, that truthfully is a daily event here.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that, I don't think, as long as the lifeboat is sailing, we are consistently going to learn more from you than we learned from all of the books we read and all the other crap.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. And you know what, people, I would really, whether you realize it or not, we're actually putting a dent, right? If you start watching and looking at all of the there's not a news agency out there now, I don't care which one you tune into, that isn't giving you about 15 to 20 minutes a day, which isn't enough. Those are in 30-second spots, but fent is something that is being discussed constantly, and I think that's not an accident. We've spent enough time screaming about this that and so many of you reached out and called your elected officials and wrote letters, and
yep.
It's amazing what 2,500 really pissed off drug addicts could do if they sort of all get rolling in the same direction. You know what I mean?
And I think that, not to mention that we're all inclusive when it comes to addiction too. We're not just one specific drug. We're alcohol. We're, all the things that isn't typically just kind of grouped in together,
right.
Because I think that on the basis of it, even if you go to even a 12-step program, you're going to see that they you got AA and then now they got NA. If anybody has never seen an NA book, it's the exact same AA book. They just replaced the word alcohol with opiate.
Right.
I mean, it's really that similar. Matter of fact, I think it's even got the same amount of pages. I mean, it's really like that. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't work, is what I'm trying to say. So I think that when you're talking about addiction in somebody's life, and I'm not talking about the 12-step program, I'm talking about just what we do and what all you guys are doing. We're able to help each other, no matter what our addiction is, because we care. I mean, if that caring isn't there, I don't think it works. I don't. I don't think somebody can just dryly say something to you and then for you to accept it. I know when somebody's saying something to me, and I'm not feeling it, I'm not going to remember it. You know? So when I have some passion, or not even just passion, just some caring behind what I'm saying, I think it really does hit a lot harder to people.
No question. No question. And you know what, Miss Dragon? You know, the we were all pulling for you and praying for you. And it was a really beautiful day to hear that everything was all right, and that
Yeah.
you know that you're good. That was a very, very big deal. And you know, I'm not trying to embarrass you or anything else, but I figure, just in case there's anybody here that didn't hear that, there's a lot of people that were praying, and there's a lot of people that were really pulling for you. So I think it's
Yeah.
probably worth saying.
Yep.
Really, really happy that you're doing well, and I mean that. So people, the takeaway, I guess there's a lot of them, you know, but the I think the big takeaway is that you know, we're human, and we're just a couple of guys on the boat who are trying to stay sober the same way that all of you are. And we get as much, if not more, from you to help keep us sober than we ever give to you. And it's actually a really beautiful thing, and it works so well. Thanks for the warm welcome. I am not ignoring any of you. I am cooking dinner and watching, and I love you all. And chances are you have that dog at your feet. Great.
He's got
dog.
one of the most awesome dogs, doesn't he, Tommy? It's
no question.
awesome
Really, really
dog.
a cool dog.
Benny, that's his name. I was trying to remember the name. That's an awesome
Yep.
name too. Yeah, we got a new dog
Usually,
too, and it's
how is the dog?
you know, we've been really blessed. You know, guys, if you guys ever, we didn't do any research on the breed of dog that we got. We ended up with a Jack Russell Terrier. So
Janet Russell Terrier.
yeah, sorry, it's a female. My bad. You're right.
Yep.
But she has been a blessing, really, and blessing. It's been hard sometimes, but not. This is the first dog that I've had in a long time that made me cry because I felt bad for it. I got a lot to make up for some of the, you know, other dogs I had that I just really didn't give a whole lot of love to, you know, when I was a kid or when I was, you know, an adult even. And I was not willing to do that with this one. So this one's getting a little bit, I guess, spoiled, I guess. I don't know. We're trying to train it, and she's very smart. Very, very smart. She's, from the time we brought her home, she in the grass, none of that stuff. You know, she comes to the door. When we walk her in, she sits down. She sits and waits for us to take her leash off. So, I mean, this dog is smart. And, sometimes I think it's probably going to be a little too smart.
Oh boy, trust me when I know I know that one. Thank you so much, Heather. And Heather, we were correct, right? Number 5, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I wanted to make sure that we were right on that.
And yeah, we got Stacy Michaels' life jacket on her too, so that's a good thing.
Yes. Noise Opera. Sorry, the weather has been awful, bud, but we love you. So if we miss you,
and prayers for people out west too, man. That's a bad storm where you're at, even, I think, isn't it?
It's been really, really ugly for yes, it is 5. It's been really ugly for, I mean, going on probably a week. If it's not raining, it's snowing, and it's the roads are somewhat treacherous. I actually did a ton of damage to my Prius just driving in snow. Basically blew the front of the thing right down onto the tire, sort of the almost a bumper, but the little
really?
like inside liner of the bumper.
Okay.
What's your guys' thoughts on being sober from drugs that you can't control, but still use, like marijuana and alcohol sometimes? Todd, we're not an anti-drug channel. That may sound really funny because of all of the stuff that we talk about, but we're an anti-addiction channel, right? What we really are out to, to try to help people with this addiction. And I could never tell you whether or not you're addicted to anything. Especially from where I'm seated here. And if I was living in the same house as you, I still would have a struggle. But you know whether or not you have any issues with these. There are a ton of people who use cannabis and don't seem to have a problem with it at all. And there are people who use alcohol and that also don't have any issues. So it if the drug that you really were struggling with is out of your life, that's a beautiful thing.
Yep.
Be careful that these other ones don't become where you slide right back into replacing one with the other, because that can be dangerous.
That's right. That's right.
I'm praying for all of you, those that are sober and those that aren't. Stay in the chat and we can all help each other out.
There you
Lots
go.
of love to you all. Christopher, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that.
And Daniel's got a really good one underneath there too. He says, "We're here for support, and we won't judge you, but we will try to advise you away from the stuff." So that's a great way to put it. Really, we're not going to judge anybody for whatever they're doing, but we will call you out if it needs to be called out if it's bad. So, and I think that's what makes us a little bit effective in what we do. So, I don't know. I thought really well said, Daniel. I like that. But yeah, guys. So I think we are at the top, Tommy. I think we're about at the end.
We are. Listen, Greg, if you're still here, you can absolutely send me 6,000 emails on watches. Are you kidding me? Honestly, if there's one subject in the world that you can fire off an email and never ever catch me in a bad mood or put me into a bad position or anything else, fire off an email about a World War II Hamilton wristwatch. Some of my favorites. Absolutely. So, and I would love to talk to you about them. So don't give me that. This will be the last one. Crap. No offense. All right, people. And I'll tell you what, there are other, there are other avenues that people can go to get sober, and anyone that works for you is fantastic.
Yes.
But I think you're going to be hard pressed to find a better group of people anywhere in the world than the crew on this boat. And where the hell else are you going to get a cat in a basket? All right, people, we will be back tomorrow night. Same squirrel time, same squirrel channel. And or I'm sure we'll be chipper. Not a term you get to use very often.
No, it isn't. That's a good one.
Feeling chipper? Okay. I am Captain Tommy Scoville, and on the other side of the glass,
Captain Mark Wages.
oh, look at that. She's got her tail tucked up there. Yeah, great kitty. She's holding on to it. That's a cat in a basket. Good night, everybody. We love you.